Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Welcome, everybody. Let me know who's in here. Put your name in the chat if you want to say hello. Tonight, we are going to be discussing winter survival, mostly winter preparedness, vehicle essential kits, things like that. Things you need in the winter to be safe during a winter storm or any other type of event that forces you to be out in the middle of winter. I'm going to wait. Actually, I'm not going to wait a couple minutes for people to come on because we had a 5-minute countdown timer. So people that are here from all the different channels, for those of you who are with us, we are actually simulcasting, if you weren't aware, on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Twitch. The first Twitch stream was I think it was last Thursday or Tuesday. One of those days I didn't stream, I don't remember which one. But this is the second Twitch stream, so we're on 4 different platforms. I may end up going back to Instagram at some point, but we shall see how that goes. All right, let's just get right into it. So, what is a winter preparedness vehicle kit for? Well, it's going to ensure safety and preparedness during any type of challenging winter season. Depending on where you live, it could be a lot colder if you're in North Dakota, even versus the Northeast, although it gets pretty cold in some of the areas in the Northeast, like northern Vermont, where I am right now. Not as cold as some places, that are closer to Canada in the middle of the country, but nonetheless, it gets extremely cold in a lot of areas. And we still have, at least according to the groundhog, about 6 weeks of winter left. Heather Lee, good evening. How you doing? Nice to see you. Heather Lee, you were on time today. I'm super impressed. Sometimes Heather's a little bit late. Jean, evening. How you doing? Before we get into it, I'm kind of curious. For anybody in the chat, I want to know what you guys have in your... I don't even want to classify it as a get-home bag or a bug-out bag, but what do you have in your vehicle in the winter? Could be anything. Could be emergency gear. Could be, empty gas can. I'm just curious what you guys might have in your own vehicle kits. Could be a wide variety of different things some people may have. If you don't have a bug-out bag that covers all your core needs, shelter, fire, water, food, medical, you really should have that. And you want to add on to that, add signaling, add land navigation, add communications. There's a lot of different things that you should add to your basic pack. This is my summer pack, much lighter and smaller than my winter pack, which has all my winter supplemental gear. If you guys want to see the video where I went through all of my winter supplemental gear, that is still live on pretty much every social media channel from one of these lives, as a matter of fact. So while you guys are gathering your thoughts and putting kind of some of the basic things that you might have in your winter vehicle kit, I'll go through a little bit of the stuff. So, in my opinion, you should have crucial items like a wool blanket, winter boots, a hat, insulated gloves, even a sleeping bag rated for negative temperatures. And depending on where you live, you might even want a baklava so you can cover your face so you're not breathing that super cold air directly into your lungs. The baklava, or at least a scarf, something will keep your breath and your lungs a little bit warmer from your own breath. Those are the basic things. You could do what I do. You could get an entire hunting suit, which is very warm, and it works really well. Some people I like polypropylene, 100% polypropylene as my first layer in the winter. Some people don't like polypropylene or they don't like any other synthetics, so you could go with wool. I would go with 100% wool and get a really high quality wool so it's not going to be scratchy, especially if you don't like wool on your skin. It could be a little funky. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your underlayment, because you want something that's wicking. You want a material that's going to wick sweat off of your body. You can have a cotton layer on top of the wicking layer, but you really don't want cotton as your first layer because it will get wet, it'll retain that moisture, and then you could end up in a bad situation depending on how cold it is. And that is not a place you want to be. So essentially, those are the items that are going to be vital in providing warmth and protection during those times when you might be in a winter emergency. Maybe you crashed on the side of the road, maybe something happened and you had to leave on foot. You guys that watch my video know that in the winter I carry a good size ice fishing sled to keep my bug out bag and all my winter supplemental gear so I can carry it in the sled and I don't have to have everything on my back, because in the winter there's a lot more gear than normal that is going to be in your pack, or at least should be in your pack. Just going to check the multi-stream comments here. They seem to be working. I haven't seen anyone put what they keep in their vehicle in the chat yet. I'm just curious. Obviously, you don't have to, but I would be curious to see what, generally speaking, even if you're not prepared, what you might carry in your vehicle in the wintertime. I say it, well, I've said it in a couple streams before, especially if you have teenage kids. A lot of the times they're going to want to get in the car and go from point A to point B wearing a t-shirt. They might warm up the vehicle first and think, oh, I have heat, I'll be fine. Still try to have winter gear, at least in the trunk of the vehicle, somewhere that you can get to it if you do break down or you do have an issue and you need to switch and put that on because maybe help can't get to you as fast as you think it can. Maybe it can't get to you at all. Maybe it's a massive storm that you shouldn't have been out in the first place, and you might be on your own for a while. So one of the things that I like to keep in my set is a high quality wool blanket. So wool is obviously made from natural fibers. It even retains most of its insulation when it's wet. So wool is pretty superior. I probably should get wool underlayment, but I'm really a fan of the 100% polypropylene and other synthetics. A lot of people don't think it's good, can get into your skin. I guess the truth is I don't care that much. I'm already getting older, and if plastic or some kind of poly is going to help me die faster, then I don't know what to tell you. I just like the way it feels, and I think for me, it's a good solution, but if you are worried about that, then go with wool. You can't go wrong going with wool, for sure. You want to look for, even if you don't have a wool blanket, you want a blanket with a tight weave, because you're trying to prevent heat loss. And again, wool is excellent because even when it's wet, it'll retain a huge percentage of its quality to stay insulated. Same with winter boots. You want winter boots with proper insulation and waterproofing. You can get a pair of winter boots for even $100 to $200 for minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is for Celsius, for those of you who might be in Canada, but I'm sure you will tell me. I don't know if Yoda is on here. Yoda is one of the new moderators on the Discord channel. And tonight, I'm going to put our Survival Summits Discord link in the chat. I'll pull that up in a little while. I have not been back on it, but I did name a couple different moderators that are on there. So if you guys want to jump in and check out the channel, I'll put that link up in a little bit. And I'll try to get in there on the off nights when I'm not streaming, and we could just kind of kick stuff around and talk about whatever you guys want. Very informal, of course. There'll be probably multiple, I think there's multiple different chat rooms, and there's also rooms where you can just, put pictures and memes and things like that. You don't have to get on a microphone, but there will be live rooms where you can get on a microphone. You don't have to have a camera on. You can just go in there with a mic, talk to each other. If I'm in there, talk to me. I have, I think, 3 different moderators that I used to have on a different Discord channel. So it should be pretty interesting. I don't know if my moderator is on tonight. I think he may be in bed already. So I may not have a moderator. I may have to do it myself. So if you can find, even at Bass Pro Shop, or if you're really looking for a really good winter boot, Baffin, B-A-F-F-I-N, makes it an incredible winter boot for extreme Arctic conditions. Same with gloves. You want gloves that are waterproof, windproof. You want to have enough dexterity depending on what you're doing. And you want to have protection, especially if you're trying to handle tools in an emergency to change a tire or anything else that you might be doing in extreme winter conditions. So sometimes it can be hard to find a good glove that's going to be warm enough and still have good dexterity. But there's a lot of different brands out there that make some pretty warm gloves. And if you're not doing anything where you need that dexterity with your hands or your fingers, you can even wear something like beaver mittens. Those are going to keep your hands incredibly warm because mittens will keep your hand closer together. It's much warmer than a glove with fingers. But I think one of the biggest parts of the insulated gloves is that if they're waterproof and windproof, it's really going to help keep your hands a lot warmer than if they're not waterproof and not windproof. So I think it's going to make a big difference. So when you're selecting these type of items, you want to make sure that you're going to prioritize quality and durability. This is not a situation where you want to cheap out too much. You want to get good quality gear that's been tested, that has, if you don't know someone that's tested them, get something with really good reviews, people that have used it out in extremely cold conditions, and just be sure that it's high quality. Some things you can go a little bit cheaper on, but when it comes to extreme cold, you definitely don't want to go too cheap when it comes to extreme cold. Some other items you could add, some essential items in my opinion, would be hand warmers. Get some of those cheap hand warmers. They may help you if your hands do get cold. Of course, you can put your hands in the warmer areas of your body, but hand warmers are going to make it a lot easier. If you want to carry a portable stove, maybe for heating food, definitely want to carry a compact snow shovel, because you never know when you have to use a snow shovel to dig out of a snowbank, or a lot of other things you may have to do in the winter with a shovel. So make sure you have some kind of a shovel. Doesn't mean it has to be a super compact shovel. You can put a winter shovel in your trunk if you have enough space in there. You could even have a portable stove, and not just for, possibly heating up meals, but you want to have a portable stove that might be able to help you keep a little bit warm. Just be careful if you're in the vehicle that you're not using any type of a stove that'll let off fumes, because clearly that's dangerous. You don't want to do that. You're much safer with like a beeswax candle if you're really trying to stay warm in the vehicle. But of course, you want to be safe in the vehicle. If you're too close to the road, you don't want to take the chance of getting hit by someone else if you went off the road, or by a plow that maybe you got buried in some snow and it's hard to see you. You don't want to be hunkered down in your vehicle with a chance that someone else could smash into your vehicle and then it's all over. So it'd be a little bit of a waste of time. But a nice compact snow shovel will help clearing the snow around the vehicle, might make a more safer and accessible space while you're waiting for assistance, especially if you have kids. If the snow is really, really deep, just shovel out a little path over towards the other back end of the guardrail, things like that. So when it comes to your winter preparedness vehicle kit, you're going to be better off tailoring the kit to your specific needs and potential challenges based on where you are. Of course, you definitely want a bug out bag. And that bug out bag really needs to have the basic items that we always talk about in the stream: shelter, fire, water, food, signaling, land nav, medical, communications. And it goes back to pace planning. If you have shelter items, especially in the winter, what do you have for shelter items? Are you going by the PACE framework? Do you have a primary, an alternate, a contingency, an emergency plan for your shelter kit? What's your primary? Your primary, not so much in a vehicle, but your primary, well, actually it would be. So at home, your primary is your home heating system, whether it's gas or electric or whatever it is. But if you're in your vehicle, your primary for keeping warm and shelter is your vehicle. But what's your alternate? Do you have a sleeping bag? And if it's super cold where you are, do you have a sleeping bag that's rated for at least, minus 10, minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit? What's your contingency? Do you have any of those emergency space blankets if you really need it? Do you have a tent that might be in the trunk? Do you have a wool blanket? In an emergency, what's your emergency? What's that part of your PACE plan? Do you know how to construct a shelter in the wilderness? Construct a shelter, start a fire, something that'll keep you, warm and safe. These are things you need to think about because it's all part of your PACE framework. Same with fire. I mention it all the time. Primary could be a Bic lighter. Alternate could be stormproof matches. Your contingency could be a ferro rod. And your emergency could be building your own fire kit, whether it's a bow drill set or maybe you're using flint and steel, whatever the case may be. You may have multiple alternates. You may have multiple contingencies. Same for communications. We've made plenty of videos where we talk about your cell phone's your primary. Your alternate could be a satellite phone, could be a walkie-talkie. Your contingency could be ham radio. Your emergency, there could be a lot of different options for that as well. So every preparedness category has a PACE. And you really should think about what you're going to do and how you're going to put that PACE plan together. And I am going to make a shameless plug on the book for those of you who haven't seen it. This book came out last week called Pace Planning, Your Guide to Emergency Preparedness and Bug Out Strategies, and it covers much more than just shelter, fire, water, food, medical, signaling, land nav. There's self-defense in there. There's a lot of different categories that are in this book. And it's also now available, not just on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. I don't think right now it's on another bookstore, but it's on Amazon. We have it on eBay. We also have it on the TikTok shop, and it's on our website. which is thesurvivalsummit.com. If you need that link, it's in our bio. So that book is pretty much everywhere at this point. And we have some affiliates that we're going to be rolling out that are also going to be pushing the book on different outlets. And I believe Survival Gear BSO, the company, is going to be carrying some of the books on their website as well. So when it comes to bug out bags, and if you want a good comprehensive gear list when it comes to bug out bags, you can get our gear list for free. If you go to our website, thesurvivalsummit.com, and then either wait for the pop-up or scroll all the way to the bottom and click sign up for the email list. As soon as you put in your email and your name, wait for the next window, and it'll give you 2 PDF links. One of them is actually a link to a pace plan PDF, which is kind of like a super insanely short version of the book. And then another is a link to our recommended gear list. And a lot of the stuff we do sell, but a lot of it we don't. So I put links to Amazon or wherever else you could get the gear that we don't carry, so you can go check it out. Or if you want to check out gear that's similar to what we have. But that gear list is free. And again, if you want to grab the gear list and you don't want to be on the email list, just don't confirm. Sometimes confirmation emails go to spam. Don't ever confirm the email, and you'll never get an email from us. And that's fine if you want to do that. You don't have to be on the email list. I don't send that many emails, but I think the last 3 out of 4 were about the book. But I'm trying to get the information about the book out there. I had someone who's a fairly big name on social media with about 1.5 million followers made a really nice video for us. And I believe there's another gentleman on YouTube who's going to be reviewing it as well. I won't mention his name just in case he doesn't, but I think he's going to, from what I hear. So we will see what happens with that. So if you're looking for that list, it's a great list that has everything pretty much in every category. And again, winter, you need to think of your winter supplemental gear. And there's an entire list of winter supplemental gear as well on that checklist in that recommended gear list. When it comes to a backpack, you want one that's durable, preferably weather resistant with nice comfortable shoulder straps. The really good backpacks will have not just especially if they're bigger for the winter, you can get one with a nice waist belt, but you also want one, and I think this is very important because I used to have a backpack that didn't have a chest strap. When you have a backpack, sometimes when you're moving around doing different things, it kind of slips off your shoulders a little bit. So get the backpack like the Rush 12 or the Rush 24, or there's a million backpacks out there that are really good. Covert 18 by 511. There's a lot of them. Get the one with the strap that connects in the front, because that's going to keep the backpack from sliding off your shoulders. Anyone who's had a backpack without that buckle in the front may have had the time where they're like, why the hell am I wearing this backpack? It just keeps slipping off, and it's super annoying. Even this smaller, this is my summer bag. This is kind of a shoulder sling where you can put it around one shoulder, but it also has a chest strap so that it's even more likely to slip off without that buckle in the front. So I think the buckle in the front is pretty amazing. Heather Lee says, I do not have a vehicle bag yet. So much to get together and do. Yes, there's always going to be something to do when it comes to preparedness. But the best time to start preparing is today and right now. As she says, however, I do have a plan on getting one together. That's awesome. Heather, now that you are a subscriber on Survival Summit's website, Heather got a free book. She already bought one, but she got a free one when she signed up to be a subscriber, and she got access to, I think it's almost 40 hours of all of our instructional films, plus another 30-something hours of some older webinars that have a ton of great information. So congratulations, Heather, on becoming a subscriber on the website. And anybody else who becomes a subscriber, you will also get the book for free. And you can just sign up for the month, cram in as many instructional videos as you want, and then just cancel. And if you cancel, it'll stay active until the end of that first month, and I will not contact you and say, why are you canceling? I don't care. So if you just want to sign up for a month, watch as much free stuff as you can, and get the book for free, you'll be fine. Now, please keep in mind, if you sign up from Canada, and I put this on the subscription page on our website, we cannot send you the book for free. What I might be willing to do is send you, I'll pay for it myself, the Amazon Kindle version, and send that to you as a gift if you're in Canada, because I found out today one of our existing subscribers because I emailed all of them and I said, hey, if you're already a subscriber, I'm going to send you the book for free, even though you've been subscribed for a long time, still going to send it to you. It cost $24, I want to say it was the same price as the book, but the shipping to Canada cost me $25 to ship the book. So I actually lost money on the book based on what it cost me to get the books in stock and then pay for the shipping. So we do not give you the free book if you don't live in the United States, unless you have a U.S. shipping address. Then you will be all set. Heather says it's a great deal even if it didn't come with the book. I think so. I think it's a great deal. There's a lot of content on there. Jean says tools, 0 sleeping bags, Yuko candles, wool blankets, Grail, I love the Grail, food, water, medical crash kit, etc. Yeah, that's definitely a great start. And that kind of, at the same time, not even thinking about winter supplemental gear and things like that, you do want to make sure that you have, a shovel. You want to have some kind of, so jumper cables, those are old school. You don't really need jumper cables anymore because they have those nice power banks that can start pretty much any vehicle. I've started heavy equipment with them on the job site before when they couldn't get them started. So they work really well and they don't take very long to charge, and you have multiple jump starts with just a wireless box that has clips that go on your battery, and you just hit a button and then boom, it starts up. It's really awesome. You can also get wireless, very small wireless tire inflators that don't take much to charge. They use the batteries that have, I guess it depends on what you get. I think I have one that has like 5,000 mAh. So it lasts quite a while. You'll be able to fill up all 4 of your tires if you need to with something like that. Those are kind of and obviously the jack, especially if you get a car that's used and you don't know if it has a jack in the trunk. You want to check, because you'd hate to have a donut tire and no jack to be able to put the tire on, which probably happens more often than not because people don't realize that maybe the jack was taken out of the vehicle they had or whatever the reason could be. So make sure you have a jack. Make sure, and in the winter, if you're worried about keeping water in the winter, so sometimes, and I didn't do it this year, sometimes I keep a 6-gallon jerry can that has water in it, and I try to take it out when I know it's going to be below freezing, but that's kind of a pain. It's very heavy. So what I've been doing is storing water bottles in my truck, and I don't care if they freeze because I always carry in my other kit as well a single wall stainless steel bottle. So if I need to cut open that water bottle and just put the ice in the bottle and boil that to get it to liquid form, easy enough. So if you're worried about keeping water bottles in your car or your truck in the winter, just remember, you should have a single wall stainless steel bottle to boil water in the winter anyway. So don't worry about frozen water bottles. Just make sure you have a knife to be able to slice the bottle open and put the ice and get a fire going and melt for water. So that's a great way to do it. You can also carry filters, but again, you don't want them to freeze. If the membrane inside the water filter gets wet and then it freezes, it could crack the membrane and it could cause an issue, and you might not even know there's an actual issue. And if you drink bad water, you're definitely going to find out the hard way that there's an issue. So get one with a lanyard. You can put it inside against your skin under all your layers of clothes, and it'll keep it warm and the membrane will not freeze. Of course, you want to shake it out first, because I've done it a couple times where there was still some water dripping out of the filter and it drips down your shirt, ends up dripping down your pants. So you want to make sure you shake it out and get the water out, which you want to do anyway so it doesn't freeze. But keep it against your skin and you should be perfectly fine. Of course, water and food are extremely important in any type of a bug out bag. Even if you don't have a bug out bag, you want to have water, you want to have some electrolytes, and you want to keep food. So for me personally, especially in the winter, the SOS emergency rations, you can get them on Amazon. There's a bunch of places you can get them. And they're not that expensive. They're like $5 to $7 per bar. The bar is pretty good size. It's 3,600 calories for each bar. And that's going to keep you going for quite a while. It's got plenty of carbohydrates, fat. It's not something you want to eat long term because it's not great food for you, but it will definitely keep you alive, and it'll give you the energy that you need and the calories that you need, especially if you're traveling on foot. It's going to be, and the beauty of the SOS emergency rations, and I think there's another one by Daytrex, I think is the name, and My Patriot Supply, I think may also have some. but they're good for, I want to say, at least -10 or -20 degrees. So they're not going to spoil if they freeze. And they're good for an extremely high temperature. So if they're in your trunk in the summertime, you don't have to worry about them going bad. Now, remember, they do have a 5-year shelf life, typically. And if it's super hot, it could get a little mush. So if it's super hot, maybe take it out when you're not in the vehicle, or take it out overnight. You don't have to. I've kept the SOS emergency rations in the vehicle all throughout the year. And I think I had to change them last year because I was way past the 5 years. So I changed them out, and one of the sets that I had, I think it was pretty close to the 5 year. It had a couple months left, and I tried them, and they tasted perfectly fine. And they had sat in extreme heat and extreme cold for almost 5 years. So I like the SOS emergency rations, but hey, get something that you like. Try not to go in a vehicle kit. Try not to use freeze-dried foods, even though they have a 25-year shelf life, because you need water to reconstitute that food. And a lot of times with freeze-dried food, you need a lot of water, a lot more than you might think. So if you're down to a situation where you need water to stay hydrated, to be on the move, or to wait for help to arrive, or whatever the case may be, you do not want to waste all of your water and then maybe still not have enough to even get your freeze-dried food to where you can eat it and then have enough water to keep drinking. Then you have to go searching for it. And again, I've said this before, if it's winter and you do have your single wall stainless steel bottle and you need to boil water, don't use snow, because the ratio of snow to water, if I fill up this bottle with snow, it's only going to be 1/10 or so of water after the snow melts. So you either want to use water or ice, because this much ice equals this much water. This much snow equals this much water. Oops, I forgot about that. You can do the hand signals with this camera and it zooms in and out. Of course, it's not working now to zoom back out. So now I have to find the button and re-zoom back to normal. I forgot, if you make the L shape with your hand, it automatically zooms in, which is a cool feature, except when you're not trying to do it. Brian Simmons says, store the water bottles in a Ziploc bag. I've had some of, and Brian, the rest of your message was cut off. And I know it wasn't Streamlabs who did that, because I deactivated Streamlabs a couple streams ago. I know it took me a while, but I finally deactivated it. Welcome Southern Florida, aka Doug. Thanks for stopping by. Gene says Daytrex water is good too, and the Daytrex water packets are good. I used to have some of those packets, but I don't know. It's not a ton of water. I love the single wall stainless steel bottles, and if I can keep a whole case of normal water bottles and know that I can just put the ice in there and melt it out, it's much easier. All right, Brian Simmons says, store the water bottles in a Ziploc bag. I've had some actually freeze and split. I've never had that problem. I did hear that they can split or explode, but I've never actually had that issue before. You wouldn't want to use your 6-gallon jerry can, because you don't want to cut open your jerry can and start chipping out ice like you're making a sculpture. So if you're going to do it with bottles. But even though I've never had it happen, Brian, it can happen. Your bottles can split. So it's not going to hurt to put them in Ziploc bags. Thank you for that tip, Brian Simmons. For those of you who don't know, I actually work with Brian Simmons in my normal day job. And he is every bit of redneck as I am. So I would listen to his tips as much as you would listen to mine. All right, so where was I? Other non-perishable foods you could use are, high energy foods like granola bars. Canned goods you could go with, but if they're liquid, you're going to have issues with freezing. You could have, peanuts, things like that. There's a lot of, the other thing you could do if you have a really nice cooler like a RTIC, or you have a Yeti, or anything that's similar, you may have good luck if you put a lot of water in one of the coolers, because not only will it keep it cold with an ice pack in there, but it's also going to keep it from the exterior freezing to freeze the water that's in your cooler. So if you have a really nice cooler, that could be another good way to do it. I do have a Yeti actually sitting right over there, but I use it for keeping stuff cold. I've never actually tried it to put that in there and see if my water wouldn't freeze over a long period of time in extremely cold weather. But I would think they're insulated so well, that could actually work. Ground Fog, hey, how you doing? Yes, definitely hit the like button, everybody, if you like the stream. And if you don't like the stream, then don't hit the like button. Or you could hit it anyway just to be nice. I'm a nice guy. Hit the like button. You could also follow us. Well, then again, this is not just on YouTube. This stream is on X, Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch now. So follow us on all of those or whichever platform that you happen to be on. So another thing you want to keep track of is, of course, first aid kits. You want to have first aid supplies. You want bandages. You want some antiseptics. You want any essential medications. And we recently, as Survival Summit, partner with Jace Medical, and there's a link in our bio. You can get emergency antibiotics, but also, as we found out with the stream with Dr. Roland a few streams back, who's the founder of Jace Medical, if you have a chronic condition, you can also get emergency supplies for your chronic condition. Almost any type of daily chronic condition that you may have, they can supply supplies of that. So I like Jace Medical. I have 5 different antibiotics in here. I also have ivermectin in here as well. But you can custom tailor your kit. You can do a lot of add-ons. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. So we do have a link in the bio. And I believe you can save $10 if you use our coupon code, which is TSS. We don't do too much in the way of affiliate stuff, but obviously we're never going to sell. We don't have doctors that can prescribe emergency or off-grid antibiotics. So partnering with a company like Jace is kind of a no-brainer, especially for us. And we want to make sure you guys get provided with a lot of good stuff. We also became an affiliate with My Patriot Supply because I did a lot of research, and it seems like you get a lot of bang for the buck when it comes to quality and it comes to as many calories as you get for the cost per, even their yearly kit. I mean, they have some really good deals. And there's a link to My Patriot Supply also in our bio. We haven't made any videos on that yet, and we may or we may not, but I just keep it in the bio just in case people are interested and if people are looking for good deals. There's other companies that people like. Some people like 4 Patriots. Some people like, I don't know if Wise Food Storage is a thing anymore. I think they are. They may have changed names, but I think My Patriot Supply, they have a sister company as well. I think it's ReadyWise, or I'm not sure. There's a lot of different companies out there, but do your research and see where you think you're going to get the best bang for your buck, where you're going to get the best deal, and go with them. And obviously, get some sample packs. Taste them. Make sure that you like what you're getting. All right, so back to first aid. Sorry, I squirreled on you. You want to make sure you have the essential stuff when it comes to first aid. Basically the boo-boo kit, Band-Aids, things like that. But you also want to make sure that you have a good trauma kit. You want to have a good trauma kit. I'm not going to pull it all out, but as you... hold on, let me get my camera back up because I'm actually not looking at it at the moment. I always carry a Gen 7 CAT tourniquet, which is good for arterial bleeds. If you're bleeding out, a tourniquet could save your life. I also carry S-rolled gauze, like packing gauze. I carry Israeli pressure dressings. I carry SAM splints for mechanical injuries. And I carry chest seals and a decompression needle. But of course, if you're going to carry a decompression needle, you need to have the training, whether it's TCCC, which is Tactical Combat Casualty Care, or TECC, which is kind of more of a civilian version of TCCC. Or you could take a Stop the Bleed class. There's a lot of different classes you can take, but you really should invest in a good trauma class if you want to learn how to take care of more severe injuries. I would highly, highly recommend that. So don't just have Band-Aids and antiseptic and things like that. Another huge, huge thing that you want to keep in either your first aid kit, you wouldn't put it in your trauma kit, is moleskin bandages. Moleskin bandages, for those of you who aren't aware, are amazing. When you start to get a blister on your feet, you want to put that moleskin bandage on that blister immediately, and it'll save you from your blister getting worse, and it'll save you from having to walk long distances with a really painful blister. So moleskin bandages, you can get it pretty much anywhere. Amazon, CVS, Walgreens, wherever you're going to get your first aid gear from. The moleskin bandages are a lifesaver, especially if you do a lot of hiking and things like that. South Florida, aka Doug, says I have 4 tourniquet in my bags. Yeah, so it's always a good idea to have multiple tourniquets. Think about active shooter situations like what happened in Vegas. There's a lot of things that could happen where you may be in a situation where something crazy happened and you may be the only one that has actual tourniquets, and you may be able to save not just your own life, but you may be able to save multiple lives. So in my vehicle kit, I've showed it before, I also have a separate trauma kit that has multiple tourniquets. I have a tourniquet on my belt. I say that, and it's not actually on these pants because these are not the pants I normally wear because I'm at the rental house, so I don't have it on me. But I usually carry a cat tourniquet on my belt. I have a couple in the truck. I also have one that's not in my glove box, but it's in a little compartment right above my glove box and in my bug out bag. So I have a lot of items. I have a lot of Israeli pressure dressings, a lot of different chest seals. I have a lot of stuff because you never know when something crazy could happen and you might be able to save multiple people's lives. So it's not going to hurt to be a little bit prepared, I think. Some people don't even carry first aid kits. Most people don't carry trauma kits. I really think you should consider carrying a trauma kit if you don't already. So some other items that you might want to have, you may want to have some signaling items and navigation items. You can get signal kits and things like that from our website. The Boss kits are fairly cheap and they come with a lot of different items. But you want to have navigation. So we go back to pace planning. What's your primary plan for navigation? Typically, it's going to be your phone, right? What if your phone doesn't work? What if you don't have a signal and you're in the middle of nowhere? What's going to be your alternate in your pace plan for navigation? Is it going to be a handheld GPS? Maybe you have a handheld GPS. Maybe you have street maps. What's your contingency? If you need to move through, it's not going to help you if you're in an area that you're not that familiar with because you're not going to have random topo maps all over the whole area where you are because topo maps can be a little bit expensive and you're clearly not going to carry a topo map everywhere that you go. But if you have a nice handheld GPS and a nice solar powered battery backup with at least 20,000 mAh, upwards of 50,000 mAh, you can recharge your phone and your GPS multiple times. You can also keep them in Faraday bags so that if there's ever some type of high altitude EMP, your electronics will be safe after the EMP is subsided. Things like that. So you want to make sure that you have a pace plan when it comes to navigation, for signaling. Have maps, have a compass, have a whistle. There's a signal mirror, flashlight. You definitely want a high-powered flashlight in your vehicle at all times, especially in the winter, really anytime. You just want to have one with you no matter what. If you don't have a nice, small, high-powered flashlight, you really should get one. All right, let's see. You can also carry a portable weather radio. So if you want to get updates to real-time weather, you can get some of the smaller radios that are hand cranked. They run off batteries. There's a lot of different ways to charge some of the portable weather radios where you can get updates, you can get emergency broadcast. I'd really recommend that you get into, ham radio. Maybe you put a CB in your vehicle. There's a lot of different ways that you can communicate, even if you're just trying to communicate with a trucker to help you if you went off the road or if someone in your family got injured when you went off the road and your phone's not working or maybe it broke. Just have a backup. Always have a pace plan for literally everything. Yeah, David Forteza says hard copy maps are a must. You definitely want to have hard copy maps. At the very least, when you're out driving, you want to have hard copy maps of, like a tri-state area. So have street maps because your GPS may not work and you may need it. South Florida Doug says I've downloaded maps on my phone in case of internet. Yeah, and that's a great idea. And if you carry a nice solar-powered charger, you can charge your phone as a lot of times with a nice solar-powered charger. David Fortez says I have an IFAC in each of our cars and a Stomp backpack for the house. Yeah, so that's perfect. Just keep in mind, trauma gear is going to be so much more valuable than just first aid gear, especially if it's a traumatic injury or incident. Even if you cut yourself mowing your lawn or you do some random by chance, you get caught on the fence and you happen to hit an artery. Yes, could you make a makeshift tourniquet? You can. But why would you do that if you have a real tourniquet? So if you're in construction or if you're in anything where there's the danger of getting cut by something sharp, you should have a tourniquet on you, especially if you carry a firearm. If you have the power to take a life, be prepared to save a life. That's the way it should be, and I believe that everybody should have trauma training and a trauma kit no matter what. Of course, you want to have extra batteries to make sure that any of your devices, flashlights, radios, communication equipment, but I really, really like the solar backups because they hold a charge, they hold a lot of juice, and if you, in an emergency, if you have to recharge them with the sun, it takes longer, but there's a lot of different ways to recharge them in your vehicle. I just think if you have a small battery pack or any type of, portable battery backup, you're going to be able to charge your phone, 5, 6, 7, 12 times, depending on exactly how good your battery pack is. You should be able to charge your devices many times. Can you recommend a good hand crank radio? So there is the Voyager, I think is a good one, but there's also another radio by Practical Survival. I don't remember their website offhand. I don't know if it's practicalsurvival.com, but they're on TikTok and they also sell one of their hand crank radios that is, I think I have one, but I think it's in my truck. But it has shortwave. I think it's 7 different bands when it comes to shortwave. It's a really nice radio that goes by battery, hand crank. It also charges with solar. And if you go on TikTok and you look up Practical Survival, you can actually find it on there. But they also have it on Amazon. I think if you search Practical Survival on Amazon, you can find that. They have a really nice water straw that's similar to a life straw, except it has, you could screw a bottle. Not every bottle fits, but you can screw a bottle into it. And it now comes with a plunger, so you can back flush the filter as well. And it comes on a nice lanyard, so you can put it in your shirt if it's in the middle of winter. Sorry, I just totally manhandled the mic. Kind of screwed it up. Let me fix that. I don't want it to fall off. Let's see. So yeah, David, I would definitely check out Practical Survival on Amazon or check out the Voyager radio. Those are pretty good. South Florida says, I took a first aid while in school, but a refresher course doesn't hurt. Yeah, definitely. There's some cases where you can do a stop the bleed class. I think in some cases they're even free in certain towns and municipalities. So just do a little bit of research. All right, let's see. Another thing you could carry is a compact emergency shelter. So in my winter kit, I have a kind of a backup. It's like I can't remember the brand. I can think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember the brand. But it was a slightly cheaper. It's basically almost like a triangle tent, but it has the reflective material in the inside of it. That's kind of a backup emergency shelter. Some of the emergency blankets, they're not that great, and they're not really good at retaining a lot of heat. If you get a really big one, you can wrap yourself in it pretty well, but I think you're probably going to be better off with a compact emergency shelter, and they pack up pretty small. So there's a lot of different things you can do because you don't know how long you may have to seek refuge somewhere. Yes, if you're really good at bushcraft, could you build something to keep yourself warm? Of course you can. But what if it's a blizzard and it's really difficult and you're already starting to freeze and you just need some temporary cover? You want to have a tarp, or preferably, either an oilskin tarp or a wax canvas tarp, or even just a regular survival tarp. I think I even sell some on the site that aren't that expensive. And I think they're 5x8 or I don't remember. But they're decent. They're not going to last you forever, but they're going to be good enough to keep the weather off of you while you're trying to get your situation together and try to make a better shelter and a better way to get out of the elements. South Florida, aka Doug, says our local fire department has free courses twice a year. So that's great. There's probably a lot of fire departments that are going to offer free courses when it comes to, medical training that you guys should take advantage of. You don't always have to go pay, a school to get training. There's plenty of opportunities that a lot of local communities and fire departments, sometimes police stations, there's a lot of good places where you can get training and you don't have to pay for it. So do some research, see what you can do, see what you can get. I would highly recommend taking a TCCC or a TECC course, which you're definitely going to have to pay for, but they are really, really, really good courses. So keep that in mind. All right, now, what if you have a small car? Sometimes you need to maximize space in your vehicle, which is going to be crucial to keep all the essential gear that you need for emergencies. Maybe you don't want to stuff everything in your trunk because maybe you need to go grocery shopping. You can always put your groceries in the back seat, but if you have kids, you're gonna have a lot less space. So maybe if you have a lot of people that are always in your vehicle and you need some more space in your trunk, but you want to carry a lot of, especially if you have a lot of kids and you want to keep some extra winter gear in there for them, you might want to consider getting some kind of a roof rack, with like one of those Thule containers. So you can put some of your emergency gear in the top of that container on the roof of the car. So even if you have a small vehicle, maybe save up some money, get one of those containers. There's a lot of different ways you can do it if you have a very small vehicle or your vehicle is packed a lot of the time. But you want to make sure too, if you have, another way to do it is especially if you have a lot of people or a lot of kids that are in the vehicle, if they all have winter boots, hopefully they're on their feet if it's winter, but maybe they're not. Maybe you're going to a school function or somewhere that you don't want to bring winter boots. Maybe they're wearing just regular sneakers. But keep winter boots in the vehicle and stuff gloves, a hat, a balaclava, a scarf inside the boots. That'll save you some space. You can put a lot of stuff, you got to effectively store your gear so that you save more space. You need to be able to optimize space unless you have a super huge vehicle and you don't need to worry about it. Same thing when it comes to food and water. If you have the emergency rations, you could stick those under your seats so you're not taking up space in the trunk. You can get, storage organizers like collapsible crates, compartmentalized storage bins. There's a lot of things. You can get some of the specialty seat covers in the back where it has a lot of pockets. You can put a lot of different gear in the back of the seat covers. There's a lot of different ways to utilize storage in a vehicle, like mesh pockets, hanger organizers. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And again, if you want to get an ice fishing sled that's big enough, easily big enough, but small enough to fit in your trunk, it's going to be a lot easier in the winter to carry an ice fishing sled if you have a big bag with a lot of winter supplemental gear. Pulling that sled is going to be a million times easier than putting a massive pack on your back. So keep that in mind. And if it's in the summer and you have a truck or you have a vehicle where you can fit a collapsible garden cart with wheels, put a garden cart in the back of the vehicle. That way, if you have a lot of stuff, you can pull that cart behind you. Not like a kid's wagon, but like a good quality garden cart with nice rugged wheels. South Florida AK Doug says a lot of things I want to carry with me. I can't keep in a vehicle due to the heat. Yeah, heat could be a problem. So depending on what the items are and specifically what they are, think about getting a really good cooler like a Yeti or an RTIC. I have a Yeti because I got it for Christmas, but I hear the RTIC, which I think you can get on Amazon, a lot of people say that those are just as good as the Yetis. So a lot of the times, maybe you're paying a little bit more for the Yeti when you can get a cooler that's pretty comparable. Just do your research, make sure you're getting one that's good. So yeah, David says Florida melt stuff, for sure. I lived in Palm Beach Gardens for a while and I had an old school muscle car and the AC didn't work. And at the time I had to wear a shirt and a tie. And every time I got stuck in traffic, like in Fort Lauderdale or close to Miami, I would be dying in that vehicle. It was so terrible. All right, so David says stuff like gas masks. So if you put a really nice cooler in the back of your vehicle or in the trunk and put some kind, even if you have to put an ice pack back there, it's going to keep a lot of the items that will not melt as much. David Fortez says, I see a lot of modular racks that are mounted on trucks, which is becoming popular for gear. Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways you can maximize space. Just, put locks on the stuff. I also recommend in every vehicle, if you can afford it and if you can find a place that'll do it, not tint, but 3M or like Lumar safety film for your vehicle. I think you can put up to 6 or 8 mil, I think, or maybe I'm thinking of the inside of your house. But they have safety film that you can put. Be careful if you buy it on Amazon. You need to make sure that it's been tested and that it's quality. Lumar is definitely, I think it's with Lumar with 2 L's. I had it put on a Ford Explorer I had a long time ago. And they did plenty of testing where it takes 5+ minutes, even with a hammer, to get through the glass. They basically have to smash the entire window out to be able to get through and get to you, which gives you plenty of time to get to your defense weapons to protect yourself. So especially if you're in an area in a city or even in a slightly dangerous suburb or close to a city and maybe there's a riot, something crazy going on, it can help you if someone can't just take a motorcycle helmet or whatever they have or a brick and get through your window easily and drag you out of the vehicle. If you have safety protection like Lumar safety film on your windows, it's going to buy you potentially the critical time that you need to get the hell out of there or to get to your defense weapon to defend yourself and your family. So consider doing that. I would definitely consider getting that safety material put on. And do it in your home too. If you have a sliding door in your living room or your dining room or wherever, you can get even thicker, because in a vehicle you can't go too thick because then your windows don't roll down as easy. But in a home, security anti-smash film for your windows at your home, you can get them very thick, especially on a sliding door or a door that opens out with big windows. And that's going to make it, you're going to have plenty of time to get to your defenses by the time somebody can get through that glass. So consider, highly recommend that you consider getting some type of a safety film. And the safety film, when it comes to vehicles and when it comes to homes, you don't have to worry about being able to smash your way out, because it's easier to break out than it is to break in the way that the film is made. So you don't have to worry about, not being able to get out of your home if there's a fire and things like that. It's going to be much easier to get out from the inside than it is going to get in from the outside. So please consider getting some safety film for your home and for your vehicle, especially if you're in an area where crazy things can happen, which really can be anywhere, but especially if you're in a big city. You just want to be really, really careful. So if you do have an ice fishing sled, or you do have a garden cart with nice heavy-duty wheels that you can take off-road if it's not the winter and you can't pull an ice fishing sled through the snow, you want to make sure you have tie-down straps, whether it's straps or bungee cords or a net, some type of protective cover to make sure that your gear is not just weatherproof, but it's also secure, especially in the winter. You could bump something out of that ice fishing sled and it will just hit the snow and you may not even hear it. You probably won't hear it at all. Maybe you'll notice a shift in weight, but if it's a smaller item, especially if it's like a trauma kit that unsnapped off your bag and landed in the snow, you're never going to know it's missing because you're never going to hear it fall. So you want to make sure that you secure any gear that you're transporting so that it's not just going to fall off either your sled or your garden cart. You just want to be really careful. And again, please keep clean water in your vehicle. If it's summer and you want to keep, the six-gallon jerry can, or it's not going to freeze, that water can still get kind of nasty over time, especially if you don't change it often. So you want to carry a water filter. Either carry a Grail GeoPress or a Sawyer or one of the Practical Survival water straws. There are a lot of different things that you can carry these days that are really inexpensive to be able to filter your water. So even if your water's sitting in the hot sun for a year, especially if you live in Florida, you're not going to have to worry about it freezing. But you are going to have to worry about bacteria and things growing in the water if it stays in there for too long and you're not constantly changing out the water. So it's not going to hurt to carry a water filter in your vehicle. Especially I love the Grail GeoPress because it'll filter not just bacteria, but it'll also filter viruses. And it's pretty simple to use. I think it's good for, I want to say 250 gallons. I'm pretty sure that's what it's good for. We do sell those, but I think we only have a few left. We're fairly limited stock on the Grail GeoPress. They're extremely popular. And again, even if it's summer, don't just carry water and a filter. You want to have a PACE plan. We go back to their PACE framework, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. What is your PACE plan for water? Your primary, bottles of water if you're in your vehicle. What's your alternate? Is your alternate going to be single wall stainless steel bottle where you can boil water? Is your contingency going to be a water filter like the Grail GeoPress? And what's your emergency? You got to think about all this stuff when it comes to, it's not just 2 is 1 and 1 is none, which a lot of people like to say, have 2 because 1 may break. PACE planning goes so much further than that because it's not just having 2 big lighters. It's having a PACE plan for fire. So you have multiple ways to start a fire. And it would take the failure of all the things you have for you to not be able to make fire. And that's the same for every category: shelter, fire, water, food, medical, communications, signaling, land nav. Every stream you're going to hear me talk about pace planning, not just because I came out with the book. I came out with the book because I talk about pace planning so often, because I want people to be prepared. I want my family to be prepared. I want my friends to be prepared. There's way too many situations in the world where people have been not even remotely prepared, and a lot of people die every year for no good reason, simply because they thought nothing bad could ever happen to me. And that something bad happened to them. They didn't expect it most of the time. It just happened. You don't want to be that person. Any type of natural disaster, there's so many different things. Iris says, thanks, little steps we can all reach, medical and basics, all checks and balances. Yeah, I really think, and again, if you don't want to spend the $24.95 on the book, just get the Kindle version. It's like $9.99. Or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. You don't even have to pay for it. So if you get Kindle Unlimited, you can read the book online. And I may not re-sign up for that after 90 days because I may actually want to offer the electronic version of the book myself, but I don't know. I kind of like the thought that people can go on Amazon and get the Kindle version for free if they get Kindle Unlimited, so I may keep that going. Could be the way to go. David says, I got the GeoPress bottle, great item. Yeah, it really is a great item. And the newer ones even have where you can put some electrolyte powder in, because they have a new setup with their filters so that it's not going to bring it backwards. It wasn't as easy to do with the older ones. Bottle water in trunk, won't get mold. Yeah, literally everything should have a pace plan. Every single aspect of survival and preparedness, you want to think about a pace plan. So again, having two items instead of one because one may fail is just a very small piece of preparedness. You want to have multiple ways to do whatever it is you need to do, whether it's eat, drink, communicate, keep yourself warm. You want to have different ways, because your Bic lighter might not work that great in the pouring rain. Your stormproof matches are going to work a million times better in the rain, because they'll literally light underwater and stay lit when you pull them out of the water. A ferro rod, as long as you know how to make good fine tinder, or you know how to make char cloth and you keep some of that stuff with you, much easier. You can get thousands and thousands of strikes from a ferro rod, ferrocerium rod. So it isn't just about having, again, two lighters or whatever the item is, having two in case one breaks. It's all about pace. It's all about having an alternate and a contingency and an emergency plan to back up your primary plan, because you never know when that primary plan is going to fail. Let's see. All right, so we talked a little bit about roadside assistance and some of the kits that have to do with roadside assistance, because a lot of people don't pay enough attention to regular roadside kits, like tire-related issues, minor vehicle repairs. You want to have a good kit that has, at the minimum, a flashlight, some reflective warning triangles, a multi-tool. You want to make sure you have the jack in your vehicle. You want a first aid kit. You definitely want a trauma kit. Those are indispensable during winter emergencies. You also want to have a portable air compressor, whether it's a wireless one that you can pick up, a tire repair kit, even if it's fix-a-flat, something if you have no other choice to get back on the road. Jumper cables, I would get the portable jumper packs, because you don't need another vehicle. So if something happens and you can't get your vehicle started, you're always looking for the jumper cables, or you're looking for someone else because you need that second vehicle to hook up the cables. And if you're parked funky, you've all been there. Maybe if you're younger, you haven't, but we've all been there where maybe you have jumper cables, but maybe they suck. Maybe they're not very good. You got them in a really cheap kit and they just don't carry the current the way they should. Or maybe you're parked weird and the other vehicle can't get close enough and your cables are not long enough. You do not need to live like that anymore, because the portable wireless jump packs are amazing. I've literally used them at least a dozen times. And like I said, I've used them on construction sites to help people start their heavy equipment, and they work amazing. And you can get multiple starts before you even have to think about recharging the batteries. Technology has come a long way. Use it. Throw your jumper cables. Well, don't throw them away. Maybe keep them as a backup in case you let the battery run out on your portable jump pack and then you don't have any jumper cables and you don't have any other options. So pace. Your primary should probably be the battery and the wireless jumper. Your alternate could be the jumper cables. So don't just throw them away. Can't believe I almost said that. I almost just totally dismissed pace planning when it comes to restarting your vehicle. Have a pace plan. Make sure you have everything you need. At the very least, have something to be able to restart your vehicle and fill your tires, have a repair kit. You just want to make sure that you have the basic stuff. Maybe you need tire chains, depending on where you are in the winter. Have tire chains. Make sure you buy them for the right size and type. Make sure you know how to put them on. You don't want to buy tire chains and then realize, hey, you know what? I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. And then you can't do it. It could be a real pain. So you want to make sure, and again, a foldable snow shovel or a regular snow shovel, especially if you have a truck and you can put a regular shovel in the back, you want to make sure you have a shovel, because you may not even just have to dig yourself out. You may have to help dig someone else out to get them back on the road. So think about that. Just keep your vehicle equipped, especially in the winter, and keep that in mind. Another thing when it comes to winter preparedness, you want to stay physically fit. You want to make sure that you're getting regular exercise, you're maintaining your strength, your endurance, your agility, because if you have to travel in the winter, and carry some snowshoes if you're in an area where the snow gets really, really, really deep, because walking in snowshoes is going to be much easier than walking in boots through 2 feet of snow. I've done it. It sucks. It's terrible. Just adapt to the area that you are. You can even get attachments for your boots that'll help you with ice. I actually think I showed them in my video. I have them in my winter supplemental gear. They're basically, they strap on the bottom of your boot and they help you navigate on ice when it's really slippery. They're really handy, and I think they're really good. But you want to make sure that you hear a lot of stories about people just shoveling their own driveway that end up having heart attacks because their cardio is just not good. They're not used to strenuous activity. And people might think, lifting snow shovels and things like that's not that big of a deal. But for those of you who live in an area where the snow gets really heavy, it could be only a few inches deep, but if it's really wet and heavy, that's very, very strenuous. And if you're not used to any type of cardio and you're not used to doing anything strenuous, you could put yourself into a medical emergency if all of a sudden you start shoveling your entire driveway and you're not thinking that you're really exerting yourself that much, but you actually are. So you really need to be careful. Rabbit Hole says, I keep 2 half-gallon double wall containers with water in each vehicle, good for winter and summer. Still have other options for water resources. South Florida Doug says, we're surrounded by water, not a drop to drink. Yeah, I'm assuming you mean ocean. Now, South Florida Doug, remember, you can make a solar still and you can get water with a solar still even from the ocean. You don't have to buy some fancy equipment. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that show how to make some pretty simple solar stills. You can do a lot of different things when it comes to water that's not drinkable because it's ocean water. So definitely look into that. There's a lot of different resources and things that you can do that'll really help. Of course, if you can, you also want to keep, if you have enough room in your property, you want to be able to keep 55-gallon drums, or especially if you're in an area where it never freezes, you can go out to local farms. You can look on Facebook Marketplace. You can look on eBay, mostly Facebook Marketplace, but you can get 275-gallon, those big square containers with metal cages, sometimes either on a metal pallet or a wood pallet, and you can get a 330-gallon version of that as well. Keep that in your backyard if you have the space. Keep a couple of those. You'll have a ton of water stored, and if you have a smaller place, try to keep, a good clean food grade 55-gallon drum of water in your home if you can. Try to keep one in your alternate and your contingency locations as well. There's a lot of different options. And again, comes back to pace planning. Depending on what your individual situation is and where you are and what type of water you have and everything that has to do with your particular circumstances, you're going to develop that pace plan based on you. Your gear, your training, your location. No one's pace plan is ever going to be the same. Just please keep that in mind. If someone tells you there's a one-size-fits-all for everything, they're probably full of crap, because that's not really how it works. Maybe some things are one-size-fits-all, but most of the time, you really want a plan that is tailored to you when it comes to pace planning. It's extremely important. And you want to prioritize preparedness. So prioritizing preparedness for winter emergencies is really, really essential when it comes to ensuring the safety of you, the safety of your family, and navigating through all the challenging winter conditions. You want to be proactive, stay updated on weather conditions, all the forecast. You can get forecast and alerts on your phone. So don't use the excuse that I forgot to check the weather. You can get alerts to your phone, and you can keep that crank radio or whatever you want. You can get a radio like a NOAA radio that'll give you all the updates in your area based on bad weather that's coming in. So if it's winter, have a way to keep track of what's going on in your area. It's really, you can monitor the National Weather Service updates on hazardous winter weather and forecast. You really want to stay proactive, especially if you're going to be traveling on the roads in the wintertime. You may go through a state where the weather's going to be fine, but did you check the state that you're going to be in next? Maybe it's going to really be snowing badly at the end of your trip. Maybe you didn't plan for that. You want to be proactive with that kind of stuff. And again, please keep a blanket, a wool blanket specifically if you can. Winter boots, insulated gloves, a really good sleeping bag. You want to have that stuff in case you do get stranded and you don't want to spend the time, especially in a storm, trying to build some bushcraft shelter. That should be the emergency in your pace plan when it comes to shelter. Your primary is going to be your warm vehicle. Your alternate could be the sleeping bag. Your contingency could be a tent. There's a lot of different things that you should set up when it comes to pace planning for your shelter. Again, it's awesome. Can you build a bushcraft shelter? Sweet. That's perfect. That still belongs in the emergency section of your pace plan. If you go right from warm vehicle to bushcraft shelter, that's not really a pace plan. There's easier ways that you could have done it, and when it comes to survival, you want to do the most expedient, easiest way to keep not just yourself, but other people alive, especially if you have young children. David Forteza says 50-gallon blue drum, an added plastic water spigot on the bottom, great for water shortage. Yeah, that's amazing. And you can do the same thing with rain barrels in your house attached to your gutters. There's people that have plans where they stack the barrels, so when they all fill over time. There's a lot of really good ways to do it. Be careful if you're going to use pool water, because with all the chemicals and chlorination in pools, there isn't really a lot of good filters. They're going to take a lot of that stuff out. So be really careful about trying to drink pool water. You have to watch that. And do a little bit of research and see what you need to do for your particular system and setup if you do want to have some extra water and you do want to try to utilize your pool. You need to do it intelligently and make sure that you're doing it right so that you're not drinking chemical-laden pool water. The other thing that you want to make sure that you do, other than keeping gear, share your travel plans and the routes that you're going to be going with other people. Keep your gas tank filled. I cannot stress this enough. If you are half tank or less, in the winter especially, if you don't have a truck and you can't I carry 3 5-gallon metal gas cans in the back of my truck filled. So I have 15 gallons of fuel, which can get me, I think it is about 250 miles in the truck that I have when I'm out of town. So other than your full tank, you want to make sure you have backup gas. If you can't have gas cans, like you're not going to want to put gas cans in your trunk, you're not going to want to put them in your back seat. You want to keep them in an open air environment. So if you can't do that, don't let your gas tank go below half. Don't drive by the gas station thinking I'll fill up in the morning. Don't do it. Anything could come up where you may be kicking yourself. If there's a really bad storm and maybe the gas station is down, maybe the pump stopped working, maybe it's insanely cold and you can't get them to work, maybe they didn't get filled because the guy delivering the gas in the big tanker went off the road, or the roads were too bad, so your local gas station doesn't actually have the ability to refill the gas station. So don't go below half a tank. Don't do it. Fill your gas tank. I think they even did a study where if you fill it when it's half, it may save you a little bit more than if you try to fill it when it's completely empty based on whatever. I can't remember what that study was. And I never actually looked into it, so I could be full of crap, but that's what I heard. So you just want to be proactive. You want to make sure that people know where you're going, know what your routes are, you know, reach out, let them know, let your other family members know where you're going to be. And again, have communication devices. If you're going to go through an area where you know there's no cell phone signal for quite a while, get a satellite phone, get a satellite messenger, get some way to communicate. Have communication pace plan, so you have a primary and alternate, a contingency, and emergency plan for communication and for literally everything. But just make sure that you have gear in your vehicle. I know it sounds like kind of beating a dead horse with that stuff, but it's shocking the amount of people that don't have any types of supplies. It really is kind of crazy. So start off slow. Again, if you don't have a lot of money to buy top of the line gear, which you should save up and try to get top of the line gear if you can, think about all the things in your life that you've blown money on. I mean, I've blown money on some really crazy stuff. I have like 9 or 10 cowboy hats. This one's 100% beaver. It was not cheap. I have 2 of them that are 100% beaver, and I have a lot of other ones that are older, but still weren't that cheap. If you're in a situation where you could have good gear and you could have top of the line gear, but you have a problem buying cool stuff, try to stop buying cool stuff. I can do both. I have a pretty good day job. I make a pretty good amount of money. I shouldn't do both. I have plenty of other things I should put my money into, but you know how it is. Sometimes you get your mind set on something and you're not. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but think about it like this. Don't go to Starbucks every day and spend 6 to 8. I don't even know what it costs because I don't go to Starbucks, but stop spending $20, $30 a week in nonsense at the gas station or the Starbucks or the Dunkin' Donuts if you can make your own coffee at home. Save the money. Save the money to get better versions of the gear that you have. There's plenty of gear that is not that expensive. Yes, if you want a really good high quality knife, you're going to spend more than normal. If you want a really good saw, you're going to spend a good amount. If you want a really good backpack. But even nowadays, they make some pretty rugged backpacks that are not that expensive. They may not last a long time, but they will definitely be good enough for what you need them for at least a short amount of time. There's also some backpacks that are insanely overpriced. Some of them don't have much different than material than some of the cheaper ones. They're not really that much better, so just do a ton of research. David Forteza says, satellite phone is next on my list. So we're not affiliates for satellitephonestore.com, but the satellite phone I have is the Inmarsat phone, and I got it. Actually, I think I paid for mine because I'm an idiot. And I found out after that I didn't have to, because if you get, I think it's a 1 or 2 year plan, you get the phone for free with the at Satellite Phone Store. I haven't looked in a while, so I don't know if that deal's still happening, but most of the time, if you sign up for the right plan and get rollover minutes, it's $10 extra a month usually for rollover minutes, but you want them. I think I looked the other day and I have about 16 hours of talk time on my satellite phone. 16 hours, because it's only for emergencies. I don't use it for anything else. And those minutes have been rolling over for a really long time. So I have a ton of time on those. So where I was going with that, you can save $50 on the activation fee using the coupon code TSS. Again, we don't make a penny if you sign up for any of their plans or if you get any of their phones. We don't make a dime. But we did secure a coupon code to save that $50 activation fee on a satellite phone. So definitely check out satellitephonestore.com. Rabbit Hole says, off topic here, but I have 2 pork shoulders in 2 crock pots overnight tonight. We'll be pressure canning all 20 pounds of it tomorrow. Awesome. Yeah, anytime you get a chance to do canning or make your own freeze-dried food or make your own emergency rations and put them in, vacuum sealed packs or food grade buckets with Mylar and oxygen absorbers and put rice and salt and sugar and pasta, you're going to save a ton of money in making your own long-term food storage. Yeah, if you have the money, buy the good stuff. You can get a lot of really good stuff that's really well made, has a lot of good flavor, it's amazing. But if you don't, or if you just want to have much more, because again, even at My Patriot Supply, you can get a 1-year supply of food for a decent amount of money, but That's typically 1 year supply for one person. So if you have a family of 4, it's going to cost you a lot of money for a 25-year shelf life setup of freeze-dried foods for 4 people for an entire year. It is not going to be cheap. Yeah, can you stretch out a year's worth over 4 people for longer than, a quarter of that time? Yeah, you could. Or you could just make your own. There's a lot of different options out there. It's a lot. But again, don't skimp out on certain things like a really good bushcraft or survival knife. Don't skimp out on a saw. There's a lot of stuff you really shouldn't skimp out on. And not just we, but a lot of the instructors that we've done survival films with on the Survival Summit, all of the gear we carry is gear that most of those top guys recommend and have field tested for, in some cases, decades. Obviously, there's some newer gear that they didn't test for decades because it hasn't been around that long. But we don't put junk on the site. We just don't. It's all things that our instructors we've made film. They're not our instructors. We've made films with a lot of instructors, and they don't work for Survival Summit. They're separate from us. But those guys have spent a lot of time field testing a lot of gear. And we're never going to put something really cheesy, like the credit card knife. That's just super cheesy. Maybe you could use the blade for some stuff, but you don't want to use it in defense. It's going to break in your hand. It probably cost a quarter or 50 cents or maybe $1 at the most to get those made. And they're selling them for like $10. It's a complete ripoff, in my opinion. I don't want to get sued by whoever makes that crappy credit card knife, but it's a piece of crap. So don't waste your money. Don't buy cheesy stuff. Don't go, buying a $5 flip knife that's the locking mechanism is going to bust. It's not going to help you, especially in a self-defense situation. It's probably going to cut your own finger. And it's definitely not going to help you in a situation where you need to make kindling or do anything of importance. So I just wouldn't skimp out on any gear if you can help it. That said, if you have an insanely tight budget or your kids are young and you're spending a ton of money doing normal stuff, taking care of your children, could you put a bug out bag together at Walmart or even at the dollar store? Yeah, you could. You can get a shower curtain and use that as a temporary tarp. It's not going to last very long. It's going to really suck when it's windy and it's probably going to tear, but in a pinch, a shower curtain's going to work. So if you have a really, really tight budget, buy some cheap stuff. Just try to upgrade that stuff over time. Try to get better and better materials and gear, and please practice with your gear. It's not going to help you to have $1,000 worth of gear if you have no training, because you may still not survive because you don't know how to use the gear. So you really need to be careful. Let's see. Oh, I missed a couple. Let's see. Rabbit Hole says, scored the pork shoulder at $1.49. We're always looking for bargains. Wait, $1.49 a pound? Ooh. That would be pretty damn good. David says, collecting seeds, buying in volume. If it can grow it, I can eat it. Yeah. Heirloom seeds are really awesome. I'm glad you said that, because I think I have heirloom seeds that are insanely old, and I have not turned those over yet, the ones I have at my house. So I need to get some new seeds because I'm pretty sure the ones that I have are very, very old. They may not be viable anymore. I think I also have I may have thrown them away, but I had some sprout kits as well. I'm not really sure why we got those, but whatever. Let's see. Rabbit Hole says, I always strap a handmade baton to my pack. That way I don't need to make one at the next camp. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can make with nothing but a blade if you have good training in bushcraft. So if you want to get some training, go to someone like Joshua Enyart, who runs Graybeard Green Beret. He's probably one of the best instructors there is. You can go to Pathfinder. There's a lot of guys in a lot of different states that are really amazing instructors. Because it is true, the more training you have, the less gear you're going to be relying on. I don't think that means you shouldn't carry gear. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because again, if you're someone like EJ Snyder, who I also run his website, if you're someone like him who can survive for months in a crazy country in like the Amazon jungle or in Africa with nothing but a knife and a pot to boil water in, doesn't mean you want to do that in a survival situation that you weren't expecting to be in. So again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because you can ask EJ, hey, if you had to go out and survive and do this, yes, you could do it with nothing. But why would you? Why would you not want to have a really good saw and a blade and a good way to boil water and multiple ways to start a fire? You want to have enough gear that's high quality. Don't overload, don't carry a 1,000,000-pound backpack, and have enough skills so that the emergency in your pace, you have an emergency option for everything. You can build your own shelter, you can make your own fire. Have that skill set, but still have a pace plan. Still have a lighter. Because yes, can you start a fire with a ferro rod if you're good? It's easy. Can you do it with stormproof matches? Of course you can. But flick the bic, man. It's as simple as you get. So have that pace plan. Your primary can be something easy. It doesn't make you less of a man or a woman because you didn't use a primitive method to start fire. You absolutely should have the skill set to be able to start a fire with primitive methods or build a shelter with primitive methods, but you also should absolutely have a primary, an alternate, and a contingency, because even if your emergency works, there may be conditions where it's incredibly difficult. If it's raining, pouring rain, are you really going to try to build a bow drill set and try to find enough dry, superfine tinder so that a bow drill will get your fire going? That's going to be infinitely more difficult than doing it with conventional fire starting methods. So don't get it in your head that you just need to do everything primitive or bushcraft style. Definitely get it in your head to get the training so that you have that ability. But to me, all that does is give you the ability to have a wider range of a pace plan, to have that emergency capability to do things that a lot of people can't do, but still have your primary, your alternate, and your contingency. And take the time. You don't want to go to live training, don't do it. If you don't have the money, you don't want to spend it because some of those classes are expensive, do the online training. I say it all the time. We offer tons of online training. Watch a chapter or watch one skill. Have the gear, practice till you get really good at it. When you get really good at starting a fire or collecting the right kind of tinder bundle, do it in the rain, do it in the snow, do it in the wind, until you get really good at it in all conditions. Watch another chapter. Learn over time. You can teach yourself a lot from watching people show you how to do it on videos. I highly recommend that you take live classes. Of course, I highly recommend that. There's nothing better than getting live instruction from a legitimate instructor like Graybeard Green Beret or EJ Snyder or Pathfinder School or a ton of other schools that are out there. There's schools pretty much everywhere that can teach you pretty much everything about survival. Let's see. Rabbit hole, do you do a germination test on your old seed before you throw away? Yeah, it's actually a great idea. Because who knows, maybe they're still viable. They could be. They're all still packed into Mylar pouches, so they might still be good. I just have to find them. I don't know. I hope I didn't throw them away already. We moved, well, I think it's been almost 2 years since we moved now. So I'll have to look. I have a lot of my stuff in my primary location in one general area. And then I have stuff here, and obviously I have other places where some other plans in place that we're not going to talk about. Oh, something really cool I wanted to show you guys. And again, this is not a company that we do anything with. We're not affiliates. We don't make any money. We don't have any coupon codes for them or anything like that. But when I came out with the book, I was on Instagram and I found a company called Mad Gear Company. And these guys have contingency planners that I really, really wish I would have come out with myself, because these contingency planners pair up with my book almost perfectly. Some of their categories, like they have a checklist for putting together your bug out bag, they use more broad categories. Like they don't have shelter, fire, water, food, medical, signaling, land nav. Their categories are more like, survival, communications. But they also have another whole section where you can kind of list your gear so you can make whatever categories you want. All their guides are on waterproof Right in the Rain paper. This is the deluxe kit. So this is Mad Gear Company. You can check them out on Instagram. They're pretty much on all social media, and I think their website is madgearcompany.com, but I'd have to double check that. I'm not 100% sure. So they're contingency planners. You can get the deluxe. These cases are made by Tactical Tailor, so they're made in the USA. It's very difficult sometimes to find cases and backpacks and hats that are made in the USA because they're more expensive. Tactical Tailor actually makes some gear for North American Rescue. Because they're made in the USA, North American Rescue supplies a lot of trauma kits to the U.S. military, and they have to be Berry compliant, which means they have to be made and sourced within the United States. So they have a Right in the Rain mechanical pencil, some extra lead, really nice case, and the contingency planner itself. I made a video if you want to see kind of up close. Actually, I'm going to zoom in and kind of show you guys this on the Super Zoom, just so you can check it out. Super Zoom. I know you don't want to see my face up this close, but all right. This should be fairly clear. So it's got, you can make your own table of contents. It's got your PACE plan, so you list your primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. Now I stacked a lot of different pages in here, so there's a lot of stuff that's different. It tells you how to make a PACE plan. It goes over contingency conditions. This could be for natural disasters, where let's say there's a fire. What is their definition? What are your options when that does happen? It also has, that's kind of some of the same. There's a couple that I really want to show you guys that are pretty awesome. Again, I stacked a whole bunch of stuff in here. There's the inventory list where you can inventory your stuff. And in the deluxe kit, you get a lot of different pages, so you can put a lot of stuff in here. There's a vehicle checklist. Sorry, I'm having an issue flipping pages. I have a couple of those in here. Let's see. The go bag packing list. It's not really zooming that well, but you can see the categories they have are medical, survival tools, and then on the next page they have comms. The PACE planning book has it broken out into a lot more different categories. It's not as broad, but it doesn't mean it's not still good quality. So this is an authentication tape. I keep pointing to the wrong one. What this is you would fill in whatever letters and numbers you want in this open space. And if I wanted to authenticate that I was talking to the correct person, say on a ham radio or GMRS or walkie-talkie or satellite phone, whatever the case, I would say, so-and-so, give me Alpha Zulu. So they'd go A for Alpha, down to Z for Zulu, and if I had the number 6 in here, they'd say, confirm number 6. Or I could tell them whatever, you know, Delta Pi or whatever that, I can't remember for the phonetic alphabet name for P. It's kind of embarrassing. I should know that. But anyway, and they would verify, and you would both have the same authentication table so that you know you're talking to the right person. They also have it for numbers, so you could do it a little simple. You know, verify 38. And if you put the number A in here, they'd say verify A or verify alpha. There is, it's the same one. I got a bunch of those in here. Card of the day. So this is something where, you know, like when you hear Secret Service say they call the president, like, obviously not Big Tuna, but I don't know why that just came to my mind. So if you had a person, say your father, you wanted to call him Big Tuna as his code name, you'd put their name and you'd put whatever the code name is. Same with places, objects, destinations. So as an example, and they'll teach you in here also how to use the card of the day. So if you flip to the back of any of these cards, it'll give you examples. So if you're trying to say, you know, mom was at a certain place at a certain time, instead you might say, loaf was in the board going to lake at SRNB. That would just be a coded message to say what you wanted to say without anyone else understanding what it is that you were trying to say. The cool one is the cipher table. So that's a cipher table. You would essentially, you create a key, and it tells you in the back how to do this. It gives you the instructions in the back on how to create the keyword. So the keyword here is baked, and then you would have the same cipher keyword that the other person you're talking to is, so you can make a cipher message that only you and that person would understand based on whatever key you decided to use, so that it's not going to be as easy for someone else to decipher what you're doing. It also has an exfil plan where you talk about different destinations, how you're going to get out of there. There's a lot of cool stuff that's in here, and there's a whole bunch of pages where you can make notes. All right, it's enough of the super zoom. So I really think these are great. These contingency planners by Mad Gear Company, I think really make an awesome sidekick to the book, the PACE Planning book. And again, you can get the book on Amazon or eBay or TikTok shop, which just got added yesterday, last night actually. And you can also get it, I think, on Survival Gear BSO. I don't know if it's on his site yet, but it should be on there at some point soon. And you can get it on our website, thesurvivalsummit.com. My son's book, called by name, A Teen's Journey to Faith, you can get that on Amazon, or you can get it on the TikTok shop as well. I just added that one last night too. Or I actually may have added that a few days ago. I don't recall. But it is available on there as well. All right. I'm going to go to some comments. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Or if you guys have some other cool ideas that people that I didn't talk about or I didn't think about when it comes to winter survival or winter or vehicle kits. One thing I didn't mention, if you can carry a siphon kit, you should consider carrying a siphon kit. So that way, if you need to siphon gas with a little pump, you don't have to do it by the mouth. They do make siphon kits. So if you need to get gas from other places to refill your vehicle, especially in a big scenario where maybe the grid went down or maybe some huge natural disaster happened and you need to refill your vehicle, and if there's abandoned vehicles or other places where you might be able to get gas, if you don't have a good siphon kit, it's going to be difficult to do that. So that's one item. Anybody else in the comments, if you have any other items that you think might make excellent items for a vehicle kit, not just winter. Just got to answer a text here. Sorry. I'm going to let you guys think about some of that stuff while I answer this text. I shouldn't do this when I'm streaming, but it's a little bit important. So I need to make sure that I get this out of the way. And again, I really appreciate everybody that came on, whether you're here from Twitch or Facebook or X or YouTube. I appreciate everyone that's on. We're on 4 different outlets now, and I still haven't done it. I think I want to jump on Kick as well. And I'm not sure if I want to do the live stream on Instagram because I got to put the stream key in, and I don't get to see the chat in the multi-stream chat. I got to figure that out. I probably would go through the hassle to do it on Instagram at the same time as well with the simulcast, except I can't get the chat to show up in the multi-stream chat. So that's one of the only reasons why I don't want to do it. But hey, listen, I'm glad you guys came out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I don't have a topic for Thursday because I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I don't have a topic yet for Thursday. I'll come up with one probably tomorrow. But if you guys have any topics that you want me to talk about or other things you want to discuss, shoot me an email, info@thesurvivalsummit.com, and give me some ideas. And if you send me an idea and I don't talk about it, it's not because I thought your idea was terrible. It's either because I got an idea that I thought might work better or I came up with my own. So don't be offended. Not that any of you would be. I'm just throwing that out there. Oh, I did say I was going to give you guys a Discord link, and I just remembered that now. So let me open up Discord, and I will give you guys the link to the Discord because I did figure this out the other day, and it was way easier than I thought. I was just not looking at the right section when I was trying to find the... why is this hidden? Dang it. Hold on, I gotta edit the invite link. This will be good for 7 days. Low limit of users. Generate new link. All right. Well, apparently it's hidden, but I just copied it, so it should be good. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. So if you want to join our Discord, which is fairly... why is it not working? Hold on. It's not actually copying the link, and I don't know why. Give me a second. Let me figure this out. Damn you, Discord. What are you doing? Oh. Hold on. It's disabled because I'm in streamer mode. And I'm not even on Discord right now, but hey. So I don't know why this is happening. All right, let me see if I can pull that link from my phone, and I'll put it in the chat from... I'll put it in the YouTube chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into every single section of, like YouTube and Twitch and all that on my phone, but let me see if I can pull it from here. Hopefully it won't show me as streamer mode on Discord in here, but it could. I'm not 100% sure. So let me try this real quick. See if I can get this to work. I should have grabbed the link before the stream. I didn't know it was going to automatically put... Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I think I can disable streamer mode in Discord and do this without a problem. Hold on. And there it is. It was way easier than I thought. Click a button. All right. The link is going in the chat right now. This is the Survival Summit Discord channel. I may jump on Discord tomorrow, probably sometime between 6 and 7 o'clock, but anybody can jump on there at any time, and that link should come up any second to the Discord channel. So if you guys want to jump on Discord, we have text channels there's a welcome channel. When you do first join the Discord, it's going to ask you to go to the rules and agree to the rules. Then you can go to general chat. There'll be a section for announcements, gear talk, memes. Try not to put any weird offensive memes in there. This is a survival and preparedness channel. Not like overly offensive anyway. There'll be one for photography, suggestions, new TSS gear, although that one's kind of old. There's one for overlanding and vehicles, and then there's voice channels. So there's general voice, where if people want to go in and talk to each other with their microphone. There's a mic check channel, so if you need to check your mic to make sure it doesn't sound all crazy. A moderator will probably mute you if your mic is a little crazy, and then the standard protocol is they'll tell you if your mic sounds really messed up, and they'll ask you to go into mic check to try to get that sorted out. There's a voice channel for gear talk. There's also a voice channel for subscriber-only chat, so that means if you're a subscriber to our website where you pay $19.95 a month, you get a free pace planning book, and you have access to all of our instructional films and an automatic 15% off of all gear. There'll be a subscriber-only chat in there as well. There's an overlanding voice channel. There's a homesteaders. There's poker chat. Now, why do we have poker chat? Because I do plan to play some online poker on occasion in the Discord. We used to do that on a different Discord, and it was a lot of fun. We used to keep rankings and see who was the leader and all that kind of stuff. There's also a staff chat room that you have to be a moderator to be part of. And there's a staff voice room as well. But anyway, so if you want to go in there into the general voice and talk about whatever, if you and someone else want to talk about overlanding vehicles specifically, say, hey, anybody wants to talk about overlanding or bug out vehicles, go in the overlanding channel. But if there's not a lot of people on, just go in whatever channel you want, and we'll figure it out from there. So I'm going to try to jump on Discord tomorrow, I think, because we started this channel and we really didn't do much with it. But I think there's like 40 or 45 people that are already on here. So if you jump on Discord, make sure you agree to the rules. It should give you instructions when you do join Discord. And we'll go from there. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys on Discord, where it'll be much more informal. And you can talk about whatever you, well, not whatever you want. Don't be weird, because then you'll probably get kicked out of there by the moderators. I believe I have another admin besides myself, and then I have 3 separate monitors that I used to be on another Discord server with, and I know them very, very well. So if they make a decision about you doing something strange on the Discord channel, or if you ever get banned or you get kicked out because you don't think you did anything wrong, just reach out to me, and I'll figure out what happened and see if I can get it corrected. But as long as you don't show up and be weird about stuff, then you'll be fine. But I think Discord could be a really good chance to just get in there, and instead of you listening to me talk and having to put questions in the comments, jump on Discord. If I'm on there, which I'll try to be on the non-stream days, just jump on there and we can talk about whatever. Super informal, talk about whatever you guys want. Or you can talk to each other. If the Discord channel gets big enough, because it's not paid, you don't have to pay to become a member of the Discord channel. All you got to do is agree to the rules, and if it gets big enough over time, you may be able to make some good connections for some groups or do some group training. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do to really build a community around yourself when it comes to survival and preparedness. So if you didn't see it, go in the chat, and I believe that Discord link it landed everywhere. It landed on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and X. So it should be everywhere. Just go to that link. If you don't have Discord, you can sign up for Discord pretty easily. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's see. Whoops. I think somebody might have just jumped in there already. Yep. Somebody joined in there. I won't say who they are just in case they don't want me to. So again, once you get in there, make sure it should give you a message that says welcome please type agreed under the rules section. And then once you do, you will be just added as a regular member. And keep in mind, I don't have Discord open all the time, so if you do agree to the rules, it may take me a day, maybe not. I can do it on my phone as well. And I'll make sure I set my notifications so that I can make sure that you agreed to the rules. And then I can make you, instead of unverified, which is you would show up, I'd put you as like standard. So that way you can go into voice channels and do normal stuff on Discord. So please make sure you agree to the rules in the rules section, and we'll go from there. Somebody just agreed to the rules right now. So this is very simple. I'm just going to go in there, click their name. Instead of being unverified, I'm going to click them as standard user, and now they should be able to go into any voice channels. So it's very simple. And I'll try to keep an eye on this, especially now that I just gave the link out to pretty much everybody to Discord. If you are not already part of the Survival Summit Discord, I would highly encourage you to get in there. But again, we have multiple moderators, so please don't do anything weird. Don't say anything crazy, and you'll be good. We will not tolerate nonsense on the Discord channel. It's going to be a nice, chilled, relaxed environment where we can get together and talk about survival, talk about preparedness. You guys can, you know, take cool pictures if you're out doing training, or you want to take pictures of some cool gear that you have. Try not to put weird links. If you have links, try to make them, you know, normal stuff like Amazon, or I just want to make sure we don't get a lot of spam. We don't get a lot of like hackers going in there. And I wouldn't recommend clicking on a link in Discord if you can help it, unless it's for me. If it's for my username, Survival Summit, or one of the moderators, you should be fine. But be very, very careful about clicking other people's links, because some weirdos could slip in there trying to do some nefarious stuff. So just stay away from links. All right, let's see. Did I miss any questions? I don't think I did. I'm probably going to jump off soon. I think, oh wow, we've actually been on a decent amount of time, been on an hour and 45 minutes tonight. I have blabbed on for that long, which sometimes happens. I'll give it a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions about, you know, maybe you have a question about something that you either have or you wanted to get as far as winter supplemental gear or stuff for your bug out bag or anything like that, shoot it in the chat and we'll talk about it if you got a question. Otherwise, after a couple minutes, I'm probably going to jump off. I got some things I need to do, and I have to, of course, be up early tomorrow. But I will be here if you do have a question. And tomorrow, I think I'll be back to the rental house by, I want to say 5 or 5:30. So I'll probably jump on Discord when I get back, just to kind of, you know, make sure that I added everybody as general users, and I'll try to jump in one of the voice channels like General Voice, and I'll just kind of hang in there and see who comes in, and it'll be kind of cool. You can hear what some of you guys sound like. Other than that, I will see you guys on Thursday. If you don't end up joining Discord, don't worry about it. I'll see you here Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Topic yet to be announced again. You can always email info@thesurvivalsummit.com, and you can send ideas of topics that you would like to talk about. All right, I am going to take off, but hey, again, if you haven't already done it, make sure you go check out the book, Pace Planning, Your Guide to Emergency Preparedness and Bug Out Strategies. Boom, there's the book. Or you can check out Call by Name, A Teen's Journey to Faith, which is also on Amazon. They're on Amazon, TikTok Shop, eBay, and actually, I think I should add the Call by Name book on the website as well. I don't think I have it on my own website yet. I think that was an oversight that I probably should add that. It's my son's book, so if I don't put it on the website, he might be like, hey man, what's going on? What are you doing? Do you not care about my book? So I will do that. But you can get either one on Amazon or TikTok Shop or eBay anytime you want. And again, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get the Kindle version of the book at no cost. I think Kindle Unlimited, you can basically get all the books that you want. I don't have it, so I don't know for sure, but if you go look on Amazon, it basically shows $0 if you have Kindle Unlimited. And if you want to just buy the Kindle book version of it, you don't have Kindle Unlimited, it's $9.99 as opposed to $24.95 for the soft cover. All right, I will see you guys Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or maybe